they took the embodiment of that knowledge and they took those applications of teaching and they literally turned them into living personalities. But when we look at the personality we call Jesus the Christ, the personality of Moses, Abraham, these, though it causes so much controversy, these are manufactured personalities that have no historical significance. You can go into no ancient civilization and find a tombstone for a Moses. You can find, although in every Bible, the first thing they tell you, he was an Egyptian priest. The Kemites were some of the most prolific record keepers, but you can find no record of any biblical personality. And this causes controversy because so often people of color have researched so much of what they call their spiritual background, their spiritual essence, what defines their religion from the European versus studying the ancestral land of Kemit. Because when we go to Acts chapter 7, it mentions that Moses was mighty and learned in the wisdom of Kemit. So even amongst Christianity, the Christian religion, Christian dogma, all you see is references to Kemit. When Joseph was in trouble, he ran to Kemit. Abraham migrated to Kemit. There's always every prophet, every master in every holy book in reference to Judaism and Christianity has made some pilgrimage to Kemit. But when you speak to the average Christian, they will not make the pilgrimage to Kemit, which is disturbing because all throughout the Christian Bible, all throughout Christian holy texts, you see references of Kemit. But then when you approach a Christian, they themselves, though they read of all these men, studied and learned in the ways, the rites, the practices, the sciences, the occult knowledge of Kemit, the average Christian looks at Africa as a pagan or a heathen. So in Christianity, what you see is not the refinement or the pinnacle of religion. What you see is the refinement of white racism, white genetic survival, and a model to convert the white skin tone into the image of God, and to look at the melanin-based life forms who were the creators, the originators of spirituality, higher consciousness, and laugh at that and discard it. And you see this trend in mainstream religions. What are mainstream religions? Christianity, Judaism, and Islam are all extensions of the same construct. These are no more than plagiarized, stolen, hijacked spiritual teachings from the motherland, from Kemit, that were rewritten, converted into artificial personalities, mythical prophets, mythical personalities that never walked the planet, and endowed with life through the believers who subscribe to it. But when we look at Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, these are all paper religions because outside of paper and paintings, they don't exist. When you're dealing with a Christian, they can't produce anything on hard record. The only thing you can get is a painting from the Renaissance period. The only thing you can get on Jesus is a picture carved by Michelangelo. You can go nowhere and see any reference to these personalities. And what is so dangerous is that we have people of color investing so much psychic energy into personalities that don't even exist, that when it comes time to take that energy that should be used to evolve in the higher levels of consciousness and to deal with what's really oppressing us, that they're exhausted. They can't deal with it. And it's been demonized so much that when you think of Kemit, you think of evil, you think of some type of black magic. But then when we look at the situation that we're in now, with even the technology that's coming through our television screens, subtle mind control, mind-altering frequencies, we're not able to address this because we're no longer dealing with the teachers and the masters. We have now turned our backs to what our teachers and masters have said, and now we want to just listen to the student that failed and dropped out of junior high. When we deal with European culture, European spirituality, we are dealing with a system of thinking that is underdeveloped, that is not fully developed, which is why whenever you deal with European spirituality, any European religion, be it Judaism or Christianity, Christianity, what goes hand in hand with Christianity and Judaism? Slavery and oppression. Those are the only things that are synonymous with Christianity and Judaism, is the oppression and ethnic cleansing of whole races. And anytime you can take a whole race to turn their back on their ancestors and focus it on an artificially engineered image of a distorted version of God, a depiction of God that leaves no room for melanin, no room for nappy hair, big lips, dark skin.
Right.
Right there, we're dealing with the highest form of psychological warfare. You don't even need bullets, a metaphysical arsenal or a military arsenal after that. Once you get someone to submit and just step away from the ancestral teaching. So with Kemit, we see the foundation for religion. We see the silent foundation. The ones in the know, most Christian pastors, I would say a great deal, are initiated. They're Freemasons, they're Rosicrucians, they're in some higher order, and yet they do not divulge a lot of information to their followers that could elevate their consciousness out of the pages of their holy Bible.
Right. Wow, it's deep, man. It's deep. There's so much to go into with that.
True.
We got a few minutes left, but I did want to ask you one last question, and that was, I heard you saying about we've forgotten our forefathers, really, basically our forefathers and foremothers, and turned our back on our people. So you becoming a Moor, explain that.
The choice to become a Moor is a proactive choice. So often within our culture, we have been content with applying or taking on the titles that our oppressor or slave master has assigned to us. The act of becoming a Moor is essentially reclaiming your nationality and your birthright. It is not a movement that can be compared to the Nation of Islam, although there are Islamic connotations that are in the Moorish science. But Moorish in of itself is a reclaiming of nationality, creed, culture, and history. So when we say that we are Moors, we are reestablishing that we are no longer property of the government, property of this artificial corporation that has decided to name itself America. America is not a country. It is an artificial corporation that presents itself as a nation, but nonetheless is a fictitious entity. So when we take on the title of Moor, we are starting to move into higher levels of consciousness and reclaim the land, reclaim what has been taken from us, slowly and progressively.
True that. Man, well that's, we definitely gonna get back together.
For sure.
And do some more of this, So everybody, I hope you enjoyed this. We out.